Proverbs chapter 19, Amplified Bible. Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is perverse in his speech and is a self-confident fool. Desire without knowledge is not good, and to be over-hasty is to sin and miss the mark. The foolishness of man subverts his way, ruins his affairs. Then his heart is resentful and frets against the Lord. Wealth makes many friends, but the poor man is avoided by his neighbor. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he who breathes out lies shall not escape. Many will entreat the favor of a liberal man, and every man is a friend to him who gives gifts. All the brothers of a poor man detest him. How much more do his friends go far from him? He pursues them with words, but they are gone. He who gains wisdom loves his own life. He who keeps understanding shall prosper and find good. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he who breathes forth lies shall perish. Luxury is not fitting for a self-confident fool, much less for a slave to rule over princes. Good sense makes a man restrain his anger, and it is his glory to overlook a transgression or an offense. The king's wrath is as terrifying as the roaring of a lion, but his favor is as refreshing as dew upon the grass. A self-confident and foolish son is the multiplied calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are like a continual dripping of water through a chink in the roof. Houses and riches are the inheritance from fathers, but a wise, understanding, and prudent wife is from the Lord. Slothfulness casts one into a deep sleep, and the idle person shall suffer hunger. He who keeps the commandment of the Lord keeps his own life, but he who despises his ways shall die. He who has pity on the poor lends to the Lord, and that which he has given he will repay to him. Discipline your son while there is hope, but do not indulge your angry resentments by undue chastisements, and set yourself to his ruin. A man of great wrath shall suffer the penalty, for if you deliver him from the consequences, he will feel free to cause you to do it again. Hear counsel, receive instruction, and accept correction, that you may be wise in the time to come. Many plans are in a man's mind, but it is the Lord's purpose for him that will stand. That which is desired in a man is loyalty and kindness, and his glory and delight are his giving. But a poor man is better than a liar. The reverent, worshipful fear of the Lord leads to life, and he who has it rests satisfied. He cannot be visited with actual evil. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish, and will not so much as bring it to his mouth again. Strike a scoffer, and the simple will learn prudence. Reprove a man of understanding, and he will increase in knowledge. He who does violence to his father and chases away his mother is a son who causes shame and brings reproach. Cease, my son, to hear instruction only to ignore it, and stray from the words of knowledge. A worthless witness scoffs at justice, and the mouth of the wicked swallows iniquity. Judgments are prepared for scoffers, and stripes for the backs of self-confident fools. Wine is a mocker, strong drink a riotous brawler, and whoever errs or reels because of it is not wise. The terror of a king is as the roaring of a lion. Whoever provokes him to anger or angers himself against him sins against his own life. It is an honor for a man to cease from strife and keep aloof from it, but every fool will quarrel. The sluggard does not plow when winter sets in, therefore he begs in harvest and has nothing. Counsel in the heart of man is like water in a deep well, but a man of understanding draws it out. Many a man proclaims his own loving kindness and goodness, but a faithful man who can find? The righteous man walks in his integrity. Blessed, happy, fortunate, enviable are his children after him. A king who sits on the throne of judgment winnows out all evil like chaff with his eyes. Who can say, I have made my heart clean? I am pure from my sin. Diverse weights, one for buying and another for selling, and diverse measures, both of them are exceedingly offensive and abhorrent to the Lord. Even a child is known by his acts, whether or not what he does is pure and right. The hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made both of them. Love not sleep, lest you come to poverty. Open your eyes, and you will be satisfied with bread. It is worthless, says the buyer. But when he goes his way, then he boasts about his bargain. There is gold and a multitude of pearls, but the lips of knowledge are a vase of preciousness, the most precious of all. The judge tells the creditor, take the garment of one who is security for a stranger, and hold him in pledge when he is security for foreigners. Food gained by deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be filled with gravel. Purposes and plans are established by counsel, and only with good advice make or carry on war. He who goes about as a talebearer reveals secrets. Therefore, associate not with him who talks too freely. Whoever curses his father or his mother, his lamp shall be put out in complete darkness. An inheritance hastily gotten by greedy, unjust means, at the beginning, in the end it will not be blessed. Do not say, I will repay evil. Wait expectantly for the Lord, and he will rescue you. Diverse and deceitful weights are shamefully vile and abhorrent to the Lord, and false scales are not good. Man's steps are ordered by the Lord. How then can a man understand his way? It is a snare to a man to utter a vow of consecration rashly, and not until afterward inquire whether he can fulfill it. A wise king winnows out the wicked from among the good, and brings the threshing wheel over them to separate the chaff from the grain. The spirit of man that factor in human personality, which proceeds immediately from God, is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his innermost parts. Loving kindness and mercy, truth and faithfulness preserve the king, and his throne is upheld by the people's loyalty. The glory of young men is their strength, and the beauty of old men is their gray head, suggesting wisdom and experience. Blows that wound cleanse away evil, and strokes for correction reach to the innermost parts. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as are the watercourses. He turns it whichever way he wills. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs and tries the hearts. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Haughtiness of eyes and a proud heart, even the tillage of the wicked or the lamp of joy to them, whatever it may be, are sin in the eyes of God. The thoughts of the steadily diligent tend only to plenteousness, But everyone who is impatient and hasty hastens only to want. Securing treasures by a lying tongue is a vapor driven to and fro. Those who seek them seek death. The violence of the wicked shall sweep them away because they refuse to do justice. The way of the guilty is exceedingly crooked, but as for the pure, his work is right and his conduct is straight. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop, on the flat oriental roof exposed to all kinds of weather, than in a house shared with a nagging, quarrelsome, and fault-finding woman. The soul or life of the wicked craves and seeks evil. His neighbor finds no favor in his eyes. When the scoffer is punished, the fool gets a lesson in being wise. But men of godly wisdom and good sense learn by being instructed. The uncompromisingly righteous man considers well the house of the wicked. How the wicked are cast down to ruin. Whoever stops his ears at the cry of the poor will cry out himself and not be heard. A gift in secret pacifies and turns away anger, and a bribe in the lap strong wrath. When justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous, the upright in right standing with God. But to the evildoers it is dismay, calamity, and ruin. A man who wanders out of the way of understanding shall abide in the congregation of the spirits of the dead. He who loves pleasure will be a poor man. He who loves wine and oil will not be rich. The wicked become a ransom for the uncompromisingly righteous, and the treacherous for the upright, because the wicked themselves fall into the traps and pits they have dug for the good. It is better to dwell in a desert land than with a contentious woman with vexation. There are precious treasures and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a self-confident and foolish man swallows it up and wastes it. He who earnestly seeks after and craves righteousness, mercy, and loving kindness will find life in addition to righteousness, uprightness, and right standing with God, and honor. A wise man scales the city walls of the mighty and brings down the stronghold in which they trust. He who guards his mouth and his tongue keeps himself from troubles. The proud and haughty man, scoffer is his name, deals and acts with overbearing pride. The desire of the slothful kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. He covets greedily all the day long, but the uncompromisingly righteous gives and does not withhold. The sacrifice of the wicked is exceedingly disgusting and abhorrent to the Lord. How much more when he brings it with evil intention? A false witness will perish, but the word of a man who hears attentively will endure and go unchallenged. A wicked man puts on the bold, unfeeling face of guilt, but as for the upright, he considers, directs, and establishes his way with the confidence of integrity. There is no human wisdom or understanding or counsel that can prevail against the Lord. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but deliverance and victory are of the Lord. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. The rich and poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all. A prudent man sees the evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished with suffering. The reward of humility and the reverent and worshipful fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life. Thorns and snares are in the way of the obstinate and willful. He who guards himself will be far from them. Train up a child in the way he should go, and in keeping with his individual gift or bent, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. He who sows iniquity will reap calamity and futility. and the rod of his wrath, with which he smites others, will fail. He who has a bountiful eye shall be blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. Drive out the scoffer, and contention will go out. Yes, strife and abuse will cease. He who loves purity and the pure in heart, and who is gracious in speech because of the grace of his lips, will have the king for his friend. The eyes of the Lord keep guard over knowledge, and him who has it, but he overthrows the words of the treacherous. The sluggard says, "There is a lion outside, I shall be slain in the streets." The mouth of a loose woman is a deep pit for ensnaring wild animals. He with whom the Lord is indignant and who is abhorrent to him will fall into it. Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it far from him. He who oppresses the poor to get gain for himself, and he who gives to the rich, both will surely come to want. Listen, consent, and submit to the words of the wise, and apply your mind to my knowledge, for it will be pleasant if you keep them in your mind. Believing them, your lips will be accustomed to confessing them, so that your trust, belief, reliance, support, and confidence may be in the Lord. I have made known these things to you today, even to you. Have I not written to you long ago excellent things in counsels and knowledge, to make you know that certainty of the words of truth, that you may give a true answer to those who sent you? Rob not the poor, being tempted by their helplessness, neither oppress the afflicted at the gate where the city court is held. For the Lord will plead their cause and deprive of life those who deprive the poor or afflicted. Make no friendships with a man given to anger, and with a wrathful man do not associate, lest you learn his ways and get yourself into a snare. Be not one of those who strike hands and pledge themselves, or of those who become security for another's debts. If you have nothing with which to pay, why should he take your bed from under you? Remove not the ancient landmark which your fathers have set up. Do you see a man diligent and skillful in his business? He will stand before kings, he will not stand before obscure men. When you sit down to eat with a ruler, consider who and what are before you, for you will put a knife to your throat if you are a man given to desire. Be not desirous of his dainties, for it is deceitful food offered with questionable motives. Weary not yourself to be rich. Cease from your own human wisdom. Will you set your eyes upon wealth when suddenly it is gone? For riches certainly make themselves wings, like an eagle that flies toward the heavens. Eat not the bread of him who has a hard, grudging, and envious eye, neither desire his dainty foods. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. As one who reckons, he says to you, eat and drink, yet his heart is not with you, but is grudging the cost. The morsel which you have eaten you will vomit up, and your complimentary words will be wasted. Speak not in the ears of a self-confident fool, for he will despise the godly wisdom of your words. Remove not the ancient landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is mighty. He will plead their cause against you. Apply your mind to instruction and correction, and your ears to words of knowledge. Withhold not discipline from the child, for if you strike and punish him with the reed-like rod, he will not die. You shall whip him with the rod and deliver his life from Sheol, Hades, the place of the dead. My son, if your heart is wise, my heart will be glad, even mine. Yes, my heart will rejoice when your lips speak right things. Let not your heart envy sinners, but continue in the reverent and worshipful fear of the Lord all the day long. For surely there is a latter end, a future and a reward. Your hope and expectations shall not be cut off. Hear, my son, and be wise, and direct your mind in the way of the Lord. Do not associate with wine bibbers. Do not be among them, nor among the gluttonous eaters of meat. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. Hearken to your father who begot you, and despise not your mother when she is old. Buy the truth and sell it not. Not only that, but also get discernment and judgment, instruction and understanding. The father of the uncompromisingly righteous, the upright in right standing with God, shall greatly rejoice, and he who becomes the father of a wise child shall have joy in him. Let your father and your mother be glad, and let her who bore you rejoice. My son, give me your heart, and let your eyes observe and delight in my ways. For a harlot is a deep ditch, and a loose woman is a narrow pit. She also lies in wait as a robber, or as one waits for prey. And she increases the treacherous among men. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaining? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness and dimness of eyes? Those who tarry long at the wine, those who go to seek and try mixed wine. Do not look at wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the wine glass, when it goes down smoothly. At the last it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. Under the influence of wine your eyes will behold strange things and loose women, and your mind will utter things turned the wrong way, untrue, incorrect, and petulant. Yes, you will be as unsteady as he who lies down in the midst of the sea, and as open to disaster as he who lies upon the top of a mast. You will say, they struck me, but I was not hurt. They beat me as with a hammer, but I did not feel it. When shall I awake? I will crave and seek more wine again and escape reality. Be not envious of evil men, nor desire to be with them. For their minds plot oppression and devise violence, and their lips talk of causing trouble and vexation. Through skillful and godly wisdom is a house, a life, a home, a family built, and by understanding it is established on a sound and good foundation. And by knowledge shall its chambers of every area be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is strong and is better than a strong man, and a man of knowledge increases and strengthens his power. For by wise counsel you can wage your war, and in an abundance of counselors there is victory and safety. Wisdom is too high for a fool. He opens not his mouth in the gate where the city's rulers sit in judgment. He who plans to do evil will be called a mischief maker. The plans of the foolish and the thought of foolishness are sin, and the scoffer is an abomination to men. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Deliver those who are drawn away to death, and those who totter to the slaughter, hold them back from their doom. If you profess ignorance and say, behold, we did not know this, does not he who weighs and ponders the heart perceive and consider it? And he who guards your life, does not he know it? And shall not he render to you and every man according to his works? My son, eat honey, because it is good, and the drippings of the honeycomb are sweet to your taste. So shall you know skillful and godly wisdom to be thus to your life. If you find it, then shall there be a future and a reward, and your hope and expectation shall not be cut off. Lie not in wait as a wicked man against the dwelling of the uncompromisingly righteous, the upright in right standing with God. Destroy not his resting place. For a righteous man falls several times and rises again, but the wicked are overthrown by calamity. Rejoice not when your enemy falls, and let your heart not be glad when he stumbles or is overthrown. Lest the Lord see it, and it be evil in his eyes, and displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him to expend it upon you, the worse offender. Fret not because of evildoers, neither be envious of the wicked, for there shall be no reward for the evil man. The lamp of the wicked shall be put out. My son, reverently fear the Lord and the King, and do not associate with those who are given to change of allegiance and are revolutionary, for their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knows the punishment and ruin which both the Lord and the King will bring upon the rebellious. These also are sayings of the wise, to discriminate and show partiality, having respect of persons in judging, is not good. He who says to the wicked, you are righteous and innocent, peoples will curse him, nations will defy and abhor him. But to those upright judges who rebuke the wicked, it will go well with them, and they will find delight, and a good blessing will be upon them. He kisses the lips and wins the hearts of men who give a right answer. Put first things first. Prepare your work outside and get it ready for yourself in the field, and afterward build your house and establish a home. Be not a witness against your neighbor without cause, and deceive not with your lips. Say not, I will do to him as he has done to me. I will pay the man back for this deed. I went by the field of the lazy man, and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And behold, it was all grown over with thorns, and nettles were covering its face, and its stone wall was broken down. Then I beheld and considered it well. I looked and received instruction. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, so shall your poverty come as a robber, and your want as an armed man. These are also the Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, copied. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the glory of kings is to search out a thing. As the heavens for height and the earth for depth, so the hearts and minds of kings are unsearchable. Take away the dross from the silver, and there shall come forth the material for a vessel for the silversmith to work up. Take away the wicked from before the king, and his throne will be established in righteousness, moral and spiritual rectitude in every area and relation. Be not forward, self-assertive, and boastfully ambitious in the presence of the king, and stand not in the place of great men. For better it is that it should be said to you, come up here, than that you should be put lower in the presence of the prince whose eyes have seen you. Rush not forth soon to quarrel before magistrates or elsewhere, lest you know not what to do in the end when your neighbor has put you to shame. Argue your cause with your neighbor himself. Discover not and disclose not another's secret, lest he who hears you revile you and bring shame upon you, and your ill repute have no end. A word fitly spoken and in due season is like apples of gold in settings of silver, like an earring or nose ring of gold, or an ornament of fine gold, is a wise reprover to an ear that listens and obeys. Like the cold of snow brought from the mountains in the time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to those who send him, for he refreshes the life of his masters. Whoever falsely boasts of gifts he does not give is like clouds and wind without rain. By long forbearance and calmness of spirit a judge or ruler is persuaded, and soft speech breaks down the most bone-like resistance. Have you found pleasure sweet like honey? Eat only as much as is sufficient for you, lest, being filled with it, you vomit it. Let your foot seldom be in your neighbor's house, lest he become tired of you and hate you. A man who bears false witness against his neighbor is like a heavy sledgehammer, and a sword and a sharp arrow. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth or a foot out of joint. He who sings songs to a heavy heart is like him who lays off a garment in cold weather, and like vinegar upon soda. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For in doing so you will heap coals of fire upon his head, and the Lord will reward you. The north wind brings forth rain, so does a backbiting tongue bring forth an angry countenance. It is better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than to share a house with a disagreeing, quarrelsome, and scolding woman. Like cold water to a thirsty soul, so is good news from a far home country. Like a muddied fountain and a polluted spring is a righteous man who yields, falls down, and compromises his integrity before the wicked. It is not good to eat much honey, so for men to seek glory, their own glory causes suffering and is not glory. He who has no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. Like snow in summer and like rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a self-confident fool. Like the sparrow in her wandering, like the swallow in her flying, so the causeless curse does not alight. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a straight, slender rod for the backs of self-confident fools. Answer not a self-confident fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him. Answer a self-confident fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes and conceit. He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off the feet of satisfactory delivery and drinks the damage. Like the legs of a lame man which hang loose, so is a parable in the mouth of a fool. Like he who binds a stone in a sling, so is he who gives honor to a self-confident fool. Like a thorn that goes without being felt into the hand of a drunken man, so is a proverb in the mouth of a self-confident fool. But like an archer who wounds all, so is he who hires a fool or chance passers by. As a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool returns to his folly. Do you see a man wise in his own eyes and conceit? There is more hope for a self-confident fool than for him. The sluggard says, there is a lion in the way, a lion is in the streets. As the door turns on its hinges, so does the lazy man move not from his place upon the bed. The slothful and self-indulgent buries his hand in his bosom. It distresses and wearies him to bring it again to his mouth. The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes and conceit than 7 men who can render a reason and answer discreetly. He who passing by stops to meddle with strife that is none of his business is like one who takes a dog by the ears. Like a madman who casts firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man who deceives his neighbor and then says, was I not joking? For lack of wood the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer, contention ceases. As coals are to hot embers, and as wood to fire, so is a quarrelsome man to inflame strife. The words of a whisperer or slanderer are like dainty morsels or words of sport to some, but to others are like deadly wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the body or of the victim's nature. Burning lips uttering insincere words of love, and a wicked heart are like an earthen vessel covered with the scum thrown off from molten silver, making it appear to be solid silver. He who hates pretends with his lips, but stores up deceit within himself. When he speaks kindly, do not trust him, for 7 abominations are in his heart. Though his hatred covers itself with guile, his wickedness shall be shown openly before the assembly. Whoever digs a pit for another man's feet shall fall into it himself. And he who rolls a stone up a height to do mischief, it will return upon him. A lying tongue hates those it wounds and crushes, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Do not boast of tomorrow, for you know not what a day may bring forth. Let another man praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips. Stone is heavy and sand weighty, but a fool's unreasoning wrath is heavier and more intolerable than both of them. Wrath is cruel, and anger is an overwhelming flood. But who is able to stand before jealousy? Open rebuke is better than love that is hidden. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are lavish and deceitful. He who is satiated with sensual pleasures loathes and treads underfoot a honeycomb, but to the hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet. Like a bird that wanders from her nest, so is a man who strays from his home. Oil and perfume rejoice the heart, so does the sweetness of a friend's counsel that comes from the heart. Your own friend and your father's friend, forsake them not. Neither go to your brother's house in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor who is near in spirit than a brother who is far off in heart. My son, be wise, and make my heart glad, that I may answer him who reproaches me as having failed in my parental duty. A prudent man sees the evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished with suffering. The judge tells the creditor, take the garment of one who is security for a stranger, and hold him in pledge when he is in security for foreigners. The flatterer who loudly praises and glorifies his neighbor, rising early in the morning, it shall be counted as cursing him, for he will be suspected of sinister purposes. A continual dripping on a day of violent showers and a contentious woman are alike. Whoever attempts to restrain a contentious woman might as well try to stop the wind. His right hand encounters oil, and she slips through his fingers. Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend to show rage or worthy purpose. Whoever tends the fig tree shall eat its fruit, so he who patiently and faithfully guards and heeds his master shall be honored. As in water face answers to and reflects face, so the heart of man to man. Sheol, the place of the dead, and Abaddon, the place of destruction, are never satisfied. So the lust of the eyes of man is never satisfied. As the refining pot for silver and the furnace for gold bring forth all the impurities of the metal, so let a man be in his trial of praise, ridding himself of all that is base or insincere. For a man is judged by what he praises and of what he boasts. Even though, like grain, you should pound a fool in a mortar with a pestle, yet will not his foolishness depart from him. Be diligent to know the state of your flocks, and look well to your herds, for riches are not forever. Does a crown endure to all generations? When the hay is gone, the tender grass shows itself, and herbs of the mountain are gathered in. The lambs will be for your clothing, and the goats will furnish you the price of a field. And there will be goat's milk enough for your food, for the food of your household, and for the maintenance of your maids. The wicked flee when no man pursues them, but the uncompromisingly righteous are bold as a lion. When a land transgresses, it has many rulers, but when the ruler is a man of discernment, understanding, and knowledge, its stability will long continue. A poor man who oppresses the poor is like a sweeping rain which leaves no food, plundering them of their last morsels. Those who forsake the law of God and man praise the wicked, but those who keep the law of God and man contend with them. Evil men do not understand justice, but they who crave and seek the Lord understand it fully. Better is the poor man who walks in his integrity than he who is willfully going double and wrong ways, though he is rich. Whoever keeps the law of God and man is a wise son, but he who is a companion of gluttons and the carousing self-indulgent and extravagant, shames his father. He who by charging excessive interest and who by unjust efforts to get gain increases his material possession, gathers it for him to spend who is kind and generous to the poor. He who turns away his ear from hearing the law of God and man, even his prayer is an abomination hateful and revolting to God. Whoever leads the upright astray into an evil way, he will himself fall into his own pit, but the blameless will have a goodly inheritance. The rich man is wise in his own eyes and conceit, but the poor man who has understanding will find him out. When the uncompromisingly righteous triumph, there is great glory and celebration, but when the wicked rise to power, men hide themselves. He who covers his transgressions will not prosper, but whoever confesses and forsakes his sins will obtain mercy. Blessed is the man who reverently and worshipfully fears the Lord at all times, regardless of circumstances. But he who hardens his heart will fall into calamity. Like a roaring lion or a ravenous and charging bear is a wicked ruler over a poor people. A ruler who lacks understanding is like a wicked one, a great oppressor. But he who hates covetousness and unjust gain shall prolong his days. If a man willfully sheds the blood of a person and keeps the guilt of murder upon his conscience, he is fleeing to the pit, the grave, and hastening to his own destruction. Let no man stop him. He who walks uprightly shall be safe, but he who willfully goes in double and wrong ways shall fall in one of them. He who cultivates his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless people and pursuits will have poverty enough. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he who makes haste to be rich at any cost shall not go unpunished. To have respect of persons and to show partiality is not good. Neither is it good that man should transgress for a piece of bread. He who has an evil and covetous eye hastens to be rich and knows not that want will come upon him. He who rebukes a man shall afterward find more favor than he who flatters with the tongue. Whoever robs his father or his mother and says, "This is no sin," he is in the same class as an open lawless robber and a destroyer. He who is of a greedy spirit stirs up strife, but he who puts his trust in the Lord shall be enriched and blessed. He who leans on, trusts in, and is confident of his own mind and heart is a self-confident fool. But he who walks in skillful and godly wisdom shall be delivered. He who gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes from their want will have many a curse. When the wicked rise to power, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the consistently righteous increase and become many. He who, being often reproved, hardens his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. When the uncompromisingly righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked man rules, the people groan and sigh. Whoever loves skillful and godly wisdom rejoices his father, but he who associates with harlots wastes his substance. The king by justice establishes the land, but he who exacts gifts and tribute overthrows it. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his own feet. In the transgression of an evil man there is a snare, but the uncompromisingly righteous man sings and rejoices. The consistently righteous man knows and cares for the rights of the poor, but the wicked man has no interest in such knowledge. Scoffers set a city afire, inflaming the minds of the people, but wise men turn away wrath. If a wise man has an argument with a foolish man, the fool only rages or laughs, and there is no rest. The bloodthirsty hate the blameless man, but the upright care for and seek to save his life. A self-confident fool utters all his anger, but a wise man holds it back and stills it. If a ruler listens to a falsehood, all his officials will become wicked. The poor man and the oppressor meet together. The Lord gives light to the eyes of both. The king who faithfully judges the poor, his throne shall be established continuously. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left undisciplined brings his mother to shame. When the wicked are in authority, transgression increases, but the uncompromisingly righteous shall see the fall of the wicked. Correct your son, and he will give you rest. Yes, he will give delight to your heart. Where there is no vision, no redemptive revelation of God, the people perish, but he who keeps the law of God, which includes that of man, blessed, happy, fortunate, and enviable is he. A servant will not be corrected by words alone, for though he understands, he will not answer the master who mistreats him. Do you see a man who is hasty in his words? There is more hope for a self-confident fool than for him. He who pampers his servant from childhood will have him expecting the rights of a son afterward. A man of wrath stirs up strife, and a man given to anger commits and causes much transgression. A man's pride will bring him low, but he who is of humble spirit will obtain honor. Whoever is partner with a thief hates his own life. He falls under the curse pronounced upon him who knows who the thief is, but discloses nothing. The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever leans on, trusts in, and puts his confidence in the Lord is safe and set on high. Many crave and seek the ruler's favor, but the wise man waits for justice from the Lord. An unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, and he who is upright in the way of the Lord is an abomination to the wicked. The words of Agur, son of Jakeh, of Massa, the man says to Ithiel, and to Ukal, surely I am too brutish and stupid to be called a man, and I have not the understanding of a man, for all my secular learning is as nothing. I have not learned skillful and godly wisdom that I should have the knowledge or burden of the Holy One. Who has ascended into heaven and descended? Who has gathered the wind in his fists? Who has bound the waters in his garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name and what is his son's name, if you know? Every word of God is tried and purified. He is a shield to those who trust and take refuge in him. Add not to his words, lest he reprove you, and you be found a liar. 2 things have I asked of you, O Lord, deny them not to me before I die. Remove far from me falsehood and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is needful for me, lest I be full and deny you and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and so profane the name of my God. Do not accuse and hurt a servant before his master, lest he curse you, and you be held guilty of adding to the burdens of the lowly. There is a class of people who curse their fathers and do not bless their mothers. There is a class of people who are pure in their own eyes and yet are not washed from their own filth. There is a class of people, oh how lofty are their eyes and their raised eyelids. There is a class of people whose teeth are as swords and whose fangs are knives, to devour the poor from the earth and the needy from among men. The leech has 2 daughters crying, give, give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, yes, 4 that do not say, it is enough. Sheol, the place of the dead, the barren womb, the earth that is not satisfied with water, and the fire that says not, it is enough. The eye that mocks a father and scorns to obey a mother, the ravens of the valley will pick it out, and the young vultures will devour it. There are 3 things which are too wonderful for me, yes, 4 which I do not understand. The way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent upon a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a maid. This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wickedness. Under 3 things the earth is disquieted, and under 4 it cannot bear up. Under a servant when he reigns, a empty-headed fool when he is filled with food, an unloved and repugnant woman when she is married, and a maidservant when she supplants her mistress. There are 4 things which are little on the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they lay up their food in the summer. The conies are but a feeble folk, yet they make their houses in the rocks. The locusts have no king, yet they go forth all of them by bands. The lizards you can seize with your hands, yet is in a king's palace. There are 3 things which are stately in step, yes, 4 which are stately in their stride. The lion, which is the mightiest among beasts, and turns not back before any. The war horse, well knit in the loins, the male goat also. And the king, when his army is with him, and against whom there is no uprising. If you have done foolishly in exalting yourself, or if you have thought evil, lay your hand upon your mouth. Surely the churning of milk brings forth butter, and the wringing of the nose brings forth blood, so the forcing of wrath brings forth strife. The words of Lemuel, king of Massa, which his mother taught him. What, my son, what son of my womb? What shall I advise you, son of my vows and dedication to God? Give not your strength to loose women, nor your ways to those and that which ruin and destroy kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, or for rulers to desire strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and what it decrees, and pervert the justice due any of the afflicted. Give strong drink as medicine to him who is ready to pass away, and wine to him in bitter distress of heart. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and seriously remember his want and misery no more. Open your mouth for the dumb, those unable to speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are left desolate and defenseless. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and administer justice for the poor and needy. A capable, intelligent, and virtuous woman, who is he who can find her? She is far more precious than jewels, and her value is far above rubies or pearls. The heart of her husband trusts in her confidently, and relies on and believes in her securely, so that he has no lack of honest gain or need of dishonest spoil. She comforts, encourages, and does him only good as long as there is life within her. She seeks out wool and flax and works with willing hands to develop it. She is like the merchant ships loaded with foodstuffs. She brings her household's food from a far country. She rises while it is yet night and gets spiritual food for her household and assigns her maids their tasks. She considers a new field before she buys or accepts it, expanding prudently and not courting neglect of her present duties by assuming other duties. With her savings of time and strength, she plants fruitful vines in her vineyard. She girds herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task, and makes her arms strong and firm. She tastes and sees that her gain from work with and for God is good. Her lamp goes not out, but it burns on continually through the night of trouble, privation, or sorrow, warning away fear, doubt, and distrust. She lays her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She opens her hand to the poor, yes, she reaches out her filled hands to the needy, whether in body, mind, or spirit. She fears not the snow for her family, for all her households are doubly clothed in scarlet. She makes for herself coverlets, cushions, and rugs of tapestry. Her clothing is of linen pure and fine, and of purple such as that of which the clothing of the priests and the hallowed cloths of the temple were made. Her husband is known in the city's gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes fine linen garments and leads others to buy them. She delivers to the merchants girdles or sashes that free one up for service. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and her position is strong and secure. She rejoices over the future, the latter day or time to come, knowing that she and her family are in readiness for it. She opens her mouth in skillful and godly wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness, giving counsel and instruction. She looks well to how things go in her household, and the bread of idleness, gossip, discontent, and self-pity she will not eat. Her children rise up and call her blessed, and her husband boasts of and praises her, saying, "Many daughters have done virtuously, nobly, and well with the strength of character that is steadfast in goodness, but you excel them all. Charm and grace are deceptive, and beauty is vain, because it is not lasting. But a woman who reverently and worshipfully fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates of the city."